Namaskar, good afternoon. You are watching Rajya Sabha television. I'm Smriti Rastogi with Midday News. Let's begin the bulletin with the headlines. Prime Minister Narendra Modi chairs the first National Council of Ganga in Kanpur, reviews progress of Namami Gange project, visits exhibition at Chandrasekhar Azad University. To make India's growth story inclusive, we need to address regional disparities in development, asserts Vice President M. Venkaiah Naidu at 40th Foundation Day of Institute of Rural Management in Anand in Gujarat. Says institutes like IRMA can play a vital role in transforming rural economy. Last day of campaigning for the fourth phase of Jharkhand elections. BJP President Amit Shah's rallies scheduled in Giridih, Dhanbad and Deoghar. Congress and JMM leaders to also campaign, voting for 15 seats for fourth phase on 16th of December. Winter session of Parliament concludes. Rajya Sabha's 250th session passes 15 bills, achieves 100% productivity over 20 sittings. Lok Sabha also records 116% productivity, passes 14 bills. Big breakthrough after 18-month-long bruising trade war between United States and China. Both reached trade agreement calling for structural reforms and tariff concessions. Our top focus this afternoon, Prime Minister Narendra Modi chaired the first meeting of the National Rejuvenation, Protection and Management of River Ganga Council at Chandrasekhar Azad University of Agriculture and Technology in Kanpur. He reviewed the progress of work done and deliberated on aspects of cleaning the river Ganga. Jal Shakti Minister Gajendra Singh Shekhawat also attended the meeting. Earlier in the day, the Prime Minister visited an exhibition at Chandrasekhar Azad University in Kanpur. He is also scheduled to commute by boat from Atal Ghat to Sismau Nala, where more than 14 crore litres of sewage water used to fall into the Ganges, but now it has been completely closed. Namami Gange program is an integration conservation mission approved in June 2014 with budget outlay of 20,000 crore rupees to accomplish the twin objectives of effective pollution control and conservation and rejuvenation of River Ganga. Vice President M. Venkaiah Naidu attended the 40th Foundation Day of Institute of Rural Management at National Dairy Development Board, Anand in Gujarat today. Appreciating the Institute of Rural Management, the Vice President said that since its inception in 1979, the Institute has been working tirelessly to build an India that Sardar Patel and Mahatma Gandhi had dreamt of. He added that the institution is a testimony to the leadership and far-sightedness of Dr. Verghese Kurian. Addressing the event, he said that in order to make India's growth story inclusive, one must address the regional disparities in development. He added that institutes like IRMA can play a big role in transforming the rural economy. He also said that proper training and mentoring is a prerequisite to turn villagers and farmers into successful entrepreneurs and innovators.
आप आनंद जैसे, अमूल जैसे गांवों का निर्माण करेंगे, गांव शहर होगा और शहर में रहने वाले गांव में आएंगे। ये इसका एक उदाहरण है ये। If you look at this Vallabh Vidyanagar, or Anand, or go through the Amul story, or Irma, you really understand why people are coming here and why other people are going. It's एक स्वाभाविक प्रक्रिया हो गया शहर की ओर जाना. That became a natural process because everything is there located in urban areas. The story of Aman is really very, very inspiring. And we should replicate this story everywhere in the country so that the real empowerment of the rural people, the empowerment of agriculturists and the empowerment of the woman.
And getting you some more developments, campaigning would come to an end today for the fourth phase of Jharkhand Assembly elections. Polling would be held in 15 constituencies spread over 4 districts of Dhanbad, Deoghar, Giridih and Bokaro. Star campaigners and senior leaders will be holding rallies to garner support for their party candidates. Today, the BJP chief Amit Shah will campaign for Jharkhand Assembly polls. He will address election campaign in Giridih, Deoghar and Dhanbad. Meanwhile, BJP working president JP Nadda will also address huge election rallies in Goda and Sahibganj in Jharkhand. Productivity was a major issue this session, especially for the Rajya Sabha, since the last session recorded productivity of 104% by availing more than the available time for transacting the business. Maintaining the positive momentum was a big focus area for the upper house. It finally managed to see close to 100% productivity for the 2 sessions in a row. Here are the details.
Meaningful debates were witnessed in the upper house on a wide gamut of issues in the winter session of Parliament. Over 20 sittings and against a total scheduled available time of 108 hours 33 minutes, the House functioned for 107 hours 11 minutes, resulting in a productivity of 99%. A total of 11 hours 47 minutes, accounting for about 11% of the available time of the House, was lost due to interruptions. However, making up for lost time, the members sat for 10 hours 52 minutes beyond scheduled hours, resulting in productivity of close to 100% during this session.
I am very pleased to note that this House of Elders have demonstrated its resolve to send out a positive message by turning out 100% productivity during the last and this session. I tend to strongly believe that this new normal will stay for all the times to come. Whenever there is loss of time, we made up for the loss by sitting extra. That's why this percentage came. The debates on the state of economy, the Pegasus spyware issue, the surrogatory bill and the citizenship amendment bill, etc. have brought out the best from all sides in this August House. Spirited arguments and counter-arguments were made from both the sides. While the opposition flagged their concern, the Treasury benches sought to address them in equal spirit. This heightened quality of debates deservedly got the media space, providing a point that it is not disruptions alone fetch space, but meaningful debates get even more. I compliment all of you for the same.
15 bills were passed in the session, including some landmark bills, like the Transgender Persons Protection of Rights Bill, that is the first of its kind for transgender persons. Other major bills included the Citizenship Amendment Bill, the Constitution 126th Amendment Bill, extending reservation for SCs and STs in the legislatures by another 10 years, the bill banning e-cigarettes, the International Financial Services Centre Bill. After a long time, the upper house discussed and returned the appropriation bill.
The major highlights of session is passing of Citizenship Amendment Bill, SC/ST reservation continuation, the Arms Amendment Bill, Chit Fund Amendment Bill, National Capital Territory of Delhi, recognition of property rights and of residents in unauthorized colony Bill 2019, the Transgender Persons Protection Rights Bill 2019, the Recycling of the Ship Bill 2019. These are the important bills.
39% of the total time was spent on legislative business, 25.4% on raising and discussing matters of urgent public importance under short duration discussion, 2 calling attention notices, 0 hour and special mentions, 13% on question hour meant for ensuring accountability of the executive, and 5% on private members' bills. During this session, a total of 199 0 hour and 115 special mentions were made at the rate of a record over 14 and 7 respectively per day. This is a substantial improvement over 9 0 hour and 5.50 special mentions made per day during the last session.
I would like to sum up the course of this historic session as one marked by seriousness and brevity. The seriousness is born out of definite sense of purpose of enhancing the dignity of this august institution. Brevity has manifested itself in adhering to the time limits, resulting in more number of starred questions orally answered and 0 hour and special mentions made, besides more number of members intervening in debates during this session. I am particularly happy over all of you collectively demonstrating that parliamentary democracy is more about contestation of ideas and ideologies than confrontation, which carries a tinge of conflict in its womb. The quality of debates on several occasions bear this out. Effectiveness of parliamentary democracy is critically dependent on efficient functioning of legislature.
171 starred questions, accounting for 67% of the total 255 questions scheduled to be taken up, were orally answered in the session. This came to 9.5 questions orally answered per day, which is the best performance in the last 49 years since 1971, for which data is available. The previous best has been 8.71 starred questions orally answered per day during the 198th session in 2003. This is Kriti Mishra's report for Rajya Sabha TV.
As the historic 250th session of the Upper House came to a close, Chairman M. Venkaiah Naidu complimented the members for a productive session. The chairman summed up the course as a historic session as one marked by seriousness and brevity. He expressed happiness as the House collectively demonstrated that parliamentary democracy is more about contestation of ideas and ideologies than confrontation.
Chairman M. Venkaiah Naidu on Friday complimented members of the Upper House for sustaining the positive momentum of the last session during the winter session of Parliament. The chairman said spirited arguments and counter-arguments were made from both the sides, and while the opposition flagged their concerns, the Treasury benches sought to address them in equal spirit.
While the last session recorded productivity of 104% by availing more than the available time for transacting the business, this session too clocked almost around 100% productivity. This is perhaps for the first time that this House recorded 100% productivity for 2 successive sessions.
The chairman also held a first-of-its-kind meeting with the chairmen of parliamentary committees. He has written to leaders of all the parties and groups in this House, seeking to ensure quantitative and qualitative participation in the meetings of these committees.
Concern about functioning of department-related standing committees and other committees of the House has emerged. I held a meeting with the chairman of all these 20 committees on the 5th of this month to share my concern. I was told by some chairman that it was first of its kind. Subsequently, I have written to the leaders of all parties and groups in this House seeking to ensure quantitative and qualitative participation in the meetings of these committees, given the criticality of the role in the functioning of our parliamentary democracy.
Chairman Naidu also thanked all sides for their cooperation in making it a productive session. Kriti Mishra, Rajya Sabha TV.
Meanwhile, special preparations were done by the Rajya Sabha Secretariat during this historic session of the Rajya Sabha. Rajya Sabha Secretary General Desh Deepak Verma said that this session has been productive and full of achievements.
माननीय राष्ट्रपति जी के द्वारा इस 250वें सेशन को कमेमोरेट करते हुए एक कमेमोरेटिव कॉइन और एक कमेमोरेटिव स्टैम्प रिलीज़ किया गया, जो एक महत्वपूर्ण उपलब्धि है हमारे सचिवालय के लिए। इसके अलावा एक हमने कमेमोरेटिव वॉल्यूम इस अवसर पर प्रकाशित किया, जिसको हमारे माननीय वाइस प्रेसिडेंट हमारे सभापति जी ने उसको रिलीज़ करके और माननीय राष्ट्रपति जी को उसकी प्रथम प्रति उन्होंने भेंट की।
And the Lok Sabha also witnessed a highly productive winter session. The lower house recorded a productivity of 116%. During the session, 18 bills were introduced in the Lok Sabha, out of which 14 bills were passed. Overall, 15 bills were passed by both the houses of the parliament. Lok Sabha Speaker Om Birla said that a total of 20 sittings were held and clocking 130 hours 43 minutes. Oral answers were given for 140 start questions, and all 20 start questions listed for the day were taken up on 27th of November.
130 घंटे 14 मिनट यह सत्र चला। कुल 20 बैठ के सत्र की हुई और इस सत्र में भी 28 घंटे 45 मिनट समय से देर रात्रि तक माननीय सदस्यों ने अपनी उपस्थिति से इस सदन को चलाया और ये कह सकते हैं कि इसकी प्रोडक्टिविटी भी 115% रही।
26 days and 20 sittings. Total 18 bills have been introduced in the Lok Sabha. Lok Sabha passed 14 bills. Rajya Sabha has passed 15 bills. The total number bills passed by both the houses of parliament is 15. Once again, within comparatively it is a short session. Comparing to the sittings, this is one of the, after the last session, this is one of the best session as far as productivity is concerned.
Finance Minister NIRMALA SITHARAMAN listed the steps undertaken by the government for pushing the economic growth on Friday. Addressing a press conference, Finance Minister NIRMALA SITHARAMAN said that the government has taken several steps to boost economy and is focused on clearing all the past dues. The Finance Minister also assured that the government will intervene on economic issues when required. On possibilities of GST rate hike, Finance Minister said that there has been no conversation on it yet. She added that the government is committed to paying the states the compensation for the loss of revenue from GST implementation.
अर्थव्यवस्था कहाँ है वगैरह में एंगेज नहीं कर रही हूँ, मैं सीधा काम कर रही हूँ जहाँ हमारे आवश्यकता है वहाँ कुछ करने के लिए. आई एम लुकिंग एट द इकोनॉमी वेयर आई नीड टू इंटरवीन, आई एम इंटरवीनिंग and I shall continue to do addressing the problem of the industry as and when it rises.
She also said that onion prices will soon be under control. She added that the government is doing its best to import the commodity and resolve the issue.
कई जगह पर प्याज के दाम कम भी होने लगे हैं. कम जितना कम होना है उतना नहीं, मगर जहां तक पहुंचा उधर से कम हो रहा है. We've had a group of ministers meeting which is reviewing on almost every 1 or 2 days gap basis and deciding on how to further take up the import related issues. जैसे आप कह रहे हैं सही that yes import हो रही है. By the time I also think gradually the crop has started coming in.
Meanwhile, Chief Economic Advisor Krishnamurthy Subramanian said that 66% of 3.38 lakh crore rupees budgeted expenditure has already been spent by the government. He also said that India received record foreign direct investment of $35 billion in first half of the current financial year compared to $31 billion in the first half of 2018-19.
The credit expansion via the public sector banks, budget announced 70,000 crores of equity, 60,000 crores to be precise, 60,314 crores has been infused already, and 4.9 lakh crores has been disbursed. Of that, 2.2 lakh crores to corporates, about 73,000 crores to MSMEs, and 39,453 crores to retail borrowers.
And the Supreme Court on Friday said that it is satisfied with the report of Juvenile Justice Committee of Jammu and Kashmir High Court, which said that no minors were detained in jails post the abrogation of the provisions of Article 370. The Apex Court, after pursuing the committee's report, said that 4 High Court judges visited all the jails in Jammu and Kashmir, and they have clearly stated that no minors have been illegally detained there. The bench made this comment when senior advocate Huzaifa Ahmadi, appearing for petitioner Inakshi Ganguly, who had alleged that minors were detained there post-abrogation of the provisions of Article 370, insisted that he should be given time to respond to the committee's report. International developments now. The US and China have announced the Phase 1 trade agreement, bringing a big breakthrough after over 18-month-long bruising trade war between the world's 2 largest economies, threatening to roil the global economy. The Phase 1 of the deal requires structural reforms and other changes to China's economic and trade regime in the areas of intellectual property, technology transfer, agriculture, financial services and currency, and foreign exchange. The deal says if China breaks any part of the agreement, the Trump administration has the ability to re-implement tariffs. US negotiators are offering to significantly reduce existing tariffs on Chinese imports worth about $360 billion. In return, China has promised to buy large quantities of US soybeans, poultry and other agricultural products. If the new higher tariffs had gone ahead, Chinese-made goods such as smartphones, clothing and toys would have become more expensive for Americans just ahead of Christmas. And US lawmakers took the grave step on Friday of approving 2 charges against US President Donald Trump, setting up a full House of Representatives vote to impeach the president after his alleged misconduct. Democrats and Republicans in the House of Judiciary Committee voted along strict party lines 23-17, appearing somber as they put Trump on track to become only the 3rd president to be impeached in the US history. British Prime Minister Boris Johnson, after securing an emphatic victory in the UK elections held on Thursday, has said that he hopes that his party's extraordinary election win will bring closure to the Brexit debate and let the healing happen. Addressing a victory rally, Johnson hailed a new dawn, which unarguably broke the Brexit deadlock, and vowed not to let down the sacred trust placed in him by the voters who turned out for the first winter election in decades to register a 67% turnout. Johnson, who won his own seat in London's Uxbridge and South Ruislip, hailed the Conservative Party's triumph as a powerful new mandate to move forward with his deal to leave the 28-member economic bloc on 31st of January. With the results in from all the 650 parliamentary seats declared, the Conservatives had won 365, their biggest election win since Margaret Thatcher's 1987 triumph. Meanwhile, opposition Labour Party of the Jeremy Corbyn captured just 203 seats.
In this election, your voice has been heard, and about time too. Because we politicians have squandered the last 3.5 years in squabbles about Brexit. We've even been arguing and about the tone of our arguments. I will put an end to all that nonsense, and we will get Brexit done on time by the 31st of January. No ifs, no buts, no maybes.
And that's all we have for you in this edition of Midday News. Thank you for watching. Namaskar.